So this is my favourite position for when Bub has a cold and can't breathe properly. This is my 4 a.m. feeding position when I've forgotten that I actually have a breastfeeding pillow to help me, and I just try and make do by putting my leg up, and then later in the morning I wake up and I go, oops, I have a breastfeeding pillow for a reason. But this is just as easy for those who don't want to purchase a breastfeeding pillow. This is how I use my breastfeeding pillow when I remember I have it, which is usually during the day and not at night. Early in the morning as our baby sleeps through the night. I also highly recommend a glider. It has made life so easy when settling baby for a nap whilst breastfeeding. Now this is my favorite position. Both laying on our sides, so it's very easy to play with my toddler whilst feeding this way, and it's just a really nice moment. The stupid things people say. Now, one thing I'm going to start off with is the formula, and then I'm going to do the breastfeeding, because that's the pattern that I did it anyways. So that's how I'm going to do it. So with my first, he was formula fed. I'd go out in public for the first few weeks of his life, and mixing up the bottle. I sit down, get ready to feed him in a food court at a mall, and this old lady comes up to me and she goes, "You really should be breastfeeding. You clearly don't care about your baby." What? You don't know what I'm formula feeding? Hey? Another thing that was very often said was, "But why are you not breastfeeding? But why am I not breastfeeding? But why are you asking me why am I not breastfeeding?" Or you'd get the, "Oh, you wanted the easy way out." Easy way out? Do you know how much more prep I gotta do to make these bottles? I can't just pop a tin out and be like, "Yeah, perfect." I have to wake up, walk into the kitchen, shake the bottle with the formula, heat it up, then walk in, get the baby, and the baby's been screaming for about 5 minutes now. So he's well and truly awake. And then with breastfeeding, you really shouldn't be breastfeeding in public. Or you get the whole, aren't you a bit shy about bringing your boob out in public? Or you get the, why'd you choose to breastfeed? Well, you can get formula these days. What? Why is it that today, if you choose to formula feed or breastfeed, you get judgment no matter what? I personally really like the whole fed is best thing, because there is so many judgmental people towards each ways of feeding a baby that, mums cop enough judgment at the moment about all of the things. Like, you see these videos that pop up and people are judging these mums for sitting down at the park whilst on their phone. You don't know if they're catching up on work. You don't know if they're a mum that works in an office that allows her to work at home, and she's decided, we're going to take the kids out to the park so they can run away around and play while I do my emails. Like, it's just, so many people are so quick to judge before they even know the facts behind what exactly is going on in that person's life. That's why I always find it quite hilarious when you hear all these stories about what people say in regards to feeding your child. Like with my first, I would cop all the time. You don't care enough because you are formula feeding. Why'd you give up? Why are you doing that in public? Shouldn't you be embarrassed that you're not breastfeeding? And oh, he's going to sleep so much better because you're formula feeding, so you definitely have it easier. You can go out and drink without having a worry because your baby is on formula. And the whole time people are saying these things, you're like, okay, I didn't intend on formula feeding so I can go out and get drunk. It's definitely not what my intention was here. And then with breastfeeding, you have a glass of wine. Oh, you shouldn't be drinking at all when you're breastfeeding. It's a glass of wine. And I drink Moscato. So there's like 3 standard drinks in a whole bottle. So I always like just kind of laugh off that comment because it's like there's like, I don't know, 0.5 standard drinks in a glass, and I have a glass. I don't go overboard. So yeah, they're the random things you hear when you're a formula feeding mum and when you're a breastfeeding mum. I would love to hear those random things random people say to you about the way you feed your child. If you'd like to pop them in the comments below, just so I could have a little read. And by no means was this video meant to insult anyone. If it did come across insultive, I'm sorry for that. I more find it quite hilarious that people think it's okay to say these things to mums, especially first time mums, when it's all very daunting. And you can't really laugh it off the first time. I think the second time it's a bit easier because you're just like, oh, here we go again.